Now, you do know that in all of this, there's a tape, there's a video, there's a footage, which has been put out, it's in the public domain, that shows a meeting that happened among some Supreme Court judges and a lawyer. I don't know whether Annie will give us the right to play that tape, but it's been making the rounds. And there's a gentleman who's also gone to court, right, to basically ask that in fact, this gentleman is...
They sent a petition to the president.
To the president, good, the president.
The petition was sent to
that based on this footage, okay, so that's the footage. Yeah. So in this footage, you see Justice Kofi, looks like Justice Kofi and the acting CJ, and then Yoni Kulende. You see the three of them. Now, again, you watch the footage very clearly, very closely, right? Whilst I'm running this commentary, you would notice at some point. Okay, so I don't know that. So you would notice at some point in this footage that whilst they were entering the restaurant, they saw, what's the name of this the lawyer, Thaddeus Sory, and then who just gets up and greets them and so on. Yeah. It lasted for not less than 8 seconds, and then they moved on. But the story which was published or which was reported was that there was a meeting amongst them where they sat and all kinds of conversations took place. But when you watch the video, you don't see that kind of engagement happening. So, and you notice that as soon as the president was petitioned over this meeting, then there was also a petition about the Attorney General, the former Attorney General, that's Godfrey. I mean, that's what I'm saying, that there's a certain, I think, there's a certain connection, there's a certain linkage. Help us put, you're a lawyer, help us put all of that in this proper context, and let's understand what is happening.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Ah, dear. And you failed to add that the gentleman who petitioned the president has been picked up.
Yes, Alfred Kumi. Alfred Kumi, yes.
He has been picked up by...
Well, we cannot substantiate, except that the General Secretary of the MPP, Justin Kudia, put it out there.
We have been told.
And then also Vincent Kwasefwa, the Otafu MP.
Yes.
He's also put it out there.
And so he said a distress alarm. That has been picked up.
That has been picked up.
He himself
we want to... The reason I didn't talk about it, because Andy is trying to independently confirm
I will talk about
whether
it
such a thing has happened.
that's
why I didn't talk about
I'm confident of what I heard.
No problem. Yes, so please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay. So why do we have concerns about a lawyer from one side, especially the lawyer? Let's be very clear.
So Thaddeus Sory is one of the... We have 20 minutes to do this.
So Thaddeus Sory is a lawyer.
So 10 minutes each.
10 minutes each.
So Thaddeus Sory is a lawyer of the petitioner. Okay. And then he has met up with some of the judges. Okay. So far, we had the benefit of seeing a video. But that is not to say that is all that happens. Okay. There could be other videos. Because when he first reported it, we didn't even see a video at all. So we can't just conclude this is the end of it. Now, let me talk about why do we frown upon this particular fact. If you look at a very famous case of R versus Bow Street Magistrate Court, ex-party General Pinochet. It is a very important case as part of our common law. So usually when we cite foreign cases, they say, why are you in Ghana, you are citing foreign cases? Because of our Article 11 of the 1992 Constitution. That says that the laws of Ghana shall include the common law. So that's why we cite them. So some of the common laws are binding on us, others are what we call persuasive effect. So if you look at that particular case, Lord Hoofman, who was one of the judges who had a relationship with Amnesty International, and Amnesty International was bringing this case against a former head of state of Chile, General Pinochet, for apparently committing torture. And Lord Hoofman had a relationship with Amnesty International. I think he was their patron. So he sat on the case, knowing very well that he had this kind of relationship. And then the court took the opportunity to explain some aspect of the common law, that appearance of bias is very important issue when it comes to decisions involving judges. That justice doesn't have to be done. It has to be seen to be done. So anything that would look like there is appearance of bias, we ought to, if you are involved in such a thing, you ought to excuse yourself. So because of that, the decision that was made in that case was set aside. And the judges said it's part of our common law. of which Ghana have chosen under our Article 11 to include the common law. So those rules are applicable here. So the meeting between, what do they call it, the lawyer for the petitioner and this person, it can create appearance of bias. But I believe it depends on the extent of that involvement. Now, the video that I saw so far, as you said, it was very, very brief. Because you can't say that when people are bringing cases on behalf of clients, there should not be any circumstance in which you can come across the other person in the public. It's a very difficult thing to say. So if this was just the only interaction, because of the short period they have met, and it could also appear that they met coincidentally. It's not like, it doesn't look like it's a planned thing to me, what I've seen so far. So if it is, this is the only interaction, then we'll be happy to say, maybe nothing, I mean, that sort of thing cannot tell me there's appearance of bias.
Right.
But the trouble is that we don't know whether there were further interactions or this is the only thing that we have seen. Because when the gentleman reported it, he didn't even have a video. He didn't show us a video at all. He just reported it. Then later the video surfaced. It's possible there are other evidence elsewhere, but I don't know whether there's other evidence of somewhere, but it is possible. So if indeed there was interaction, and then I also report that they were overheard discussing the case. If indeed that is true, I believe there will be an appearance of bias, which it can affect the committee going forward with their work. But what we saw so far...
Yes, but if a group of persons meet somewhere with the aim of manipulating or engineering anything, they won't go and sit in a restaurant and discuss.
So we will usually say that, but the trouble is that some people are very prayerful.
Okay.
That the Chief Justice's prayer probably answered, that they are no longer even hiding what they are going to do. They will want to even show it in public with impunity. Right. That's what we could call impunity. We don't know. But the idea that, but as we said, we heard reports that the gentleman who had petitioned the president that he had this kind of evidence, his house has been raided and he has been picked.
Can you confirm it?
Well, I can confirm. That's why I'm going to speculate. If indeed that is true, I believe he had more evidence somebody don't want the public to see.
Right.
If indeed he has been picked, and that he is the one who has made this particular, who say he has seen this and petitioned the president, and some people say 8 security of CID raided his house. Some people say 20. For me, it doesn't matter the number. Even if you have been picked up by one person, on the basis of making this petition, it troubles me so much. So on that aspect, I have problem. So, but we wait for more evidence to come, then we can do complete assessment. Okay. Now, the Chief Justice have made that particular petition.
Right.
And I think you said there are concerns about it. And she said that she wants it to be what? In open, instead of what the Constitution suggested that it should be on camera.
Yeah.
Now, I asked myself, what is the reason why this provision was put in the Constitution? The purpose of approach. Why was it put over there? I don't agree with the Chief Justice that it is a personal right. I don't agree that. I believe it was put there to protect the Constitution. With all apologies to the Chief Justice, looking at it, it wasn't a right. As somebody who is hopeful, who is familiar with hopeful analysis of rights, it wasn't a privilege either. But I saw that it was put there to protect the judiciary. So that matters of this nature, we don't discuss it in public.
Are you suggesting that she's waiving a right she doesn't have?
So let me come, please. Okay. Give me the opportunity to exalt this side, because people will misquote me.
Right.
Yes, I don't believe it is a right.
Okay.
It is not. It wouldn't even be a right. It's more likely, if at all, it would have been a privilege. And if somebody is struggling to understand what is a right, go and read Hopeful Analysis of Rights, a former dean of Faculty of Law at Harvard, who analyzed what a right is. And I have had the opportunity of teaching students in this area of the law. So it's likely to be a privilege. But relax. He has interrupted me a bit. So it's likely not to be a right, but a privilege.
No problem.
Now, But then I don't think it's a privilege either. Okay. I think it was just put there purely to protect the judiciary. Okay. Because so that matters of this nature doesn't come out in public.
Right.
And the trouble is, did that provision serve its purpose? And the answer is no. Because I believe the president and his surrogates have leaked the content of the petition already. So the reason why that provision was there is not there. I've heard a dollar man. What is his name?
When you say the president has leaked the content,
let me explain. I've heard a dollar man. What is the dollar man's name? Your former communication minister, director.
Who is dollar man?
Sami Jamfi, yes. He's a dollar man. He was the guy who was sharing the dollar. So I heard him.
How will you Cecilia Dapa?
Well, listen.
If $800 qualifies
you just reminded I have 2 minutes. Yeah. You're interrupting the 2 minutes.
I can give you 1 minute.
I heard a dollar man.
If $800 qualifies you to be called dollar man, how will you call Cecilia?
I heard him explaining.
No, how will you call Cecilia Dapa?
My 2 minutes doesn't start as long as he's interrupted.
How will you call Cecilia Dapa?
He's trying to misuse my 2 minutes. Let me check
dollars.
When you do this,
millions of dollars.
He would appeal for more time. So let him flow.
I have heard him explaining.
His comment is.
Eh?
Well, no, that thing to call him dollar man.
Sami Jamfi.
Sami Jamfi.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard him explaining the content of the petition that was sent to the president on Joy. On Joy.
But how do you say because Sami Jamfi read it means it was the president that leaked it to him?
Where would he get it? Would he get it from the Chief Justice? It's more likely to get it from the presidency.
But you don't know.
And aside him, other members of the NDCs are discussing it. So my point is that the purpose in which it was put there.
What if it came from the MPP?
The purpose in which it was put there has been destroyed.
All right.
The in-camera reason for putting it there has been destroyed.
Okay.
And right now, what is left to safeguard is the interest of justice. Okay. And the interest of justice, the all now favor the Chief Justice that we should hear in public. Okay. Because the reason why we put that provision is no longer there. Right. The president and his surrogates have betrayed the Constitution. Okay. And if you betray the Constitution, what is left to safeguard is fair trial. All right. And a fair trial, for that reason, the Chief Justice is entitled to ask for a fair trial. Okay. But I don't think it was a privilege for him. Okay. But the view of the fact that the president have destroyed the reason why those clauses was put over there, especially his surrogates, especially as we know that after removing her, it was fixed. And when you listen to some of these NDCs, what the hardcore ones are calling for her removal. Then the soft NDCs are telling her, giving her advice to resign. Okay. Because they have already preconceived. I will advise her not to resign. Okay. Let them do their worst. And we already know their worst. They want her to go. Okay. And some of them say the Chief Justice removal is a done deal. She is next. Okay. So we know where you're going.
All right.